Hi, we're the Ackleys. I'm Bill.
And Denise.
And we're users of the Solex scanner. We're here to tell you a story and introduce you to our son, Michael. Michael was born at 24 weeks, which means he was 4 months premature. He had, because of that, he had some brain injuries, and he suffered from cerebral palsy, and he had autism. He was on the spectrum, and he developed some pretty serious gastrointestinal issues and bowel issues because of some medications that he needed to use. He also had some pretty serious behavioral challenges throughout his life. And we want to share with you how the Solex scanner affected his quality of life and changed our life as a family. And so I'm going to start off with talking about one of the biggest benefits that we saw from the scanner. And it was from the vitals and comprehensive scans. So once I started using the vitals and comprehensive scans with Michael, we noticed that it helped his bowel function. So I want to tell you a little bit about the procedures that I would go through with Michael. He had no bowel motility, meaning that he could not have bowel movements without help. And so we would do 2 enemas every other day to help him stay regular. And that usually took, from start to finish, it took me about 30 to 45 minutes usually, with at least 30 minutes sitting in the bathroom on the toilet and me being there with him to make sure he didn't fall off the toilet, to make sure everything worked out well. And sometimes dealing with manic episodes of Michael just being upset, not wanting to be there. And so there was a lot of frustration around those times every other day. And so once we started scanning and optimizing, we noticed that Michael, all of a sudden, that time started to come shorter and shorter, to where it then became a 15-minute process instead of a 45-minute process. And that was huge, because it really just worked like clockwork. And if I would forget to do a scan that week, so I would usually do 1 to 2 scans a week for Michael. He didn't really need much more than that. So I'd do 1 to 2 scans a week, I'd optimize, and if I forgot a scan, I noticed that we would lose ground, and it would go back to closer to 30 minutes, 45 minutes. I'd be in there with him, and Denise would say, "What's taking so long? Did you remember to scan this week?" And I'd say, "No, I forgot." And so I would remember to scan, and it would we'd have great results with that.
Yeah. And we have another thing that, as a mother's intuition, when we saw such progress with the enemas and with his bowels, I started noticing other things, since he was nonverbal, trying to pick up on how we can help him. And one thing that we did is he would drool a lot. And so I started running cerebral palsy on the Cephi, and it would help. Basically, within a few minutes, he would stop drooling. The other thing I really noticed is, he would grind his teeth, and he would grind them to the point where it was uncomfortable for other people to hear. And I started thinking, well, it's uncomfortable for me. What is he feeling? And wanted to figure out, how can I take that discomfort away? So I went through the Cephi, used my mother's intuition to get through the long list, and decided, looking at gastrointestinal and knowing what his history is, and found I would run indigestion number 1 and 2, or some other gastrointestinal frequencies, and noticed a significant difference in how much he would grind his teeth. He would do it much less when we did that.
Yeah, and she really started jumping into the Cephi and using it. We would use it for the bathroom, what I just talked about. We actually had an enema.
The enema playlist.
Yeah, on the Cephi.
Yeah.
And another thing we would do, and this is really where the Cephi began for us, was his manic episodes when we would be driving. When we'd go, like, for example, one time I was taking him to a movie, and load him in the back of the Honda Pilot. We had a Honda Pilot, and I would put him in the back of that, and we'd go off to the movie. And Michael would, this one day he completely flipped out, had a manic episode. He also had a G tube for feeding, because he would not eat by mouth, and so we would feed him through his G tube. And he pulls his G tube out, scratches his tummy. So you've got food, gastric fluid, and blood all over his shirt. And I could see it in the rearview mirror, and I'm like, okay, great, I got to pull around. Michael, guess what? We're going home. I'm sorry, we can't go to the movie today. We've got to go home because you just decided to pull your button out. And so we turn around, we go home. So Denise said, you know what? I'm going to run the Cephi. Let's see what we can do. Peace, calm, and tranquility, inner peace. And it was like magic. He would calm down. She actually brought him back from in the middle of a manic episode, brought him back to a peaceful state where he was just happy, enjoying the ride, and loving life. And that's what the scanner did for us.
Yeah.
Those three of those things, and so many others we could talk about, but it really helped us realize a better life for Michael, a better quality of life. And Michael is no longer with us. He passed away 9 months ago, but his quality of life was so incredible the last 4 to 5 years of his life because of our scanner and the time we had to with the big scanner all the way now through the mobile scanner. And we're so grateful to have found Solex and to have benefited from this great technology.
So thank you, Solex. We love scanning.